and you are listening to the By the Book podcast with Mr. By the Book, Gaston LaRue. Today, my guest is none other than Savion. At the time of recording, he is the current Ascend Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion. He's defending it this weekend against Piper of GK Fam. How are you doing, Savion?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Sir. Yes,
it's
sir.
a pleasure to have you in the studio. We've had tons of great matches together, shared locker rooms plenty of times. We'll discuss a lot of that later, but first I want you to tell everyone how you got your start into wrestling, where you trained, what kind of inspired you to get into wrestling as well.
You want the short version or the long?
We got time.
We got time. That's right. That's right. All right. First of all, my name is Savion. Yes, he already introduced me, but I need to get that name out there so y'all don't ever forget it. All right. So, I don't know how to start this one. You know what? Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you remember your very first video game?
Yeah. SmackDown vs. Raw 2005.
2005?
The original. So the original SmackDown vs. Raw.
So that was your first one you've ever...
Yeah.
Not just wrestling game, just any game in general. That's the first one.
That was the first one I ever played.
That's insane. Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to show my age real quick. So growing up, all right, we're talking 4 years old, man. Like, I was not even a wrestling fan. I wasn't a fan of anything. I was 4 years old, and I remember it was actually I was 3 turning 4, so I was real young, and I was just super excited for Christmas. And then I had all these gifts under the Christmas tree, and I had this one gift, right? And I just opened this one up first, and lo and behold, it's a Nintendo 64.
Oh,
so I'm showing my age a little bit,
and
right?
64's rule.
Yeah. So I had this Nintendo 64. I had no idea what it was, but I plugged it in, and my very first game was WWF WrestleMania 2000.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
So I plugged that in, and I remember the first match I went for was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock.
Of course.
And we just went at it at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, I was so young that I didn't realize that this was based off of real people, you know? So I thought that this was just a video game. So I would play this game over and over and over, like every single day. And then even going into school, like when I finally hit preschool, kindergarten, I would just play the same game. Like I didn't care that there were other games being released. I didn't care about any of that. So like this was just my game, and I would just keep playing it. So one day, I walk into my dad's room, and he's watching like WrestleMania. And it's literally The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I see them do their entrance. Well, I missed Stone Cold, I believe. And The Rock was making his entrance. Put that arm up. He's on the turnbuckle.
That's awesome.
I see just the thousands, of people. Oh, when I saw that, I was like shell shocked. I'm like, my jaw jumped to the ground. I was like, these are real people. Like I've been playing this video game for years. Yeah. And I had no idea that there's an actual man named The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they were wrestling. I was like, mind blown.
Oh yeah.
So like that visual of The Rock being on that turnbuckle, all those people just watching him, just admiring him, I was like, I want to do that one day, So I was at that point, I must have been 6 or 7 years old when I saw that. So that visual always stuck with me. So I knew that no matter what I did in life, I was going to become a wrestler. You know? So to push the story a little bit further, I didn't play sports growing up, really. Believe it or not, I had a late start. 7th grade, I finally decided to do football, did some basketball, and I was no good at, basketball. I was good at football. And then I go into high school, and like I went to Elder, so it's like a Division I, and super tough. And my football coaches were like, hey, like, you want to be good at football? Like, you should try wrestling. I'm like, there's wrestling here? Hell yeah. So I'm like, I'm thinking like, okay, let's do this. Yeah. Right? And I'm like, all right, cool. And everyone's trying to like tell me not to do it because it's so hard. I'm like, okay, wrestling's hard. Well, challenge accepted. Yeah. So I step into practice. I remember this. So I step into the wrestling room, right? And I remember opening the door and going, okay, where's the ring at? You know, I'm like, where's the ring? And there's no wrestling ring because obviously it's
Right.
folk style wrestling. So I see a bunch like mats all around and the circles and all that. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to quit because it's going to make me better at football. So whatever.
Right.
So I ended up wrestling and I stuck with it all 4 years. You know, varsity was my thing. You know, I did pretty good for someone who just started out
That's awesome.
as a freshman.
Yeah.
2-time district qualifier. You know, I didn't go All-American or anything like that, but like I was able to.
That's cool.
Be like this close to, you know, whatever. So my training partner, all 4 years, he's my best friend to this day. We we would just we would just go at it, man. It was just so brutal.
Yeah.
And to show how small this world is, it was my junior year, and I was on my laptop during like study hall. Like I should have been studying, I should have been doing homework, but now I'm like typing how to become a pro wrestler. I was already thinking like the next start. Like I didn't know what I was going to do, but like I said, I knew I was going to be a wrestler. So I would search every day like how to become a wrestler or whatever. And I found like a couple schools and whatnot. And then one day my boy PJ goes, "Hey man, my uncle's looking for people." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You want to be a pro wrestler, right?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" And then he's like, "Yeah, well, my uncle is looking for people, right?" And I'm like, "Okay." And he says, "Just go to this address." So I go to this address, and I never looked back, man. Like it was
awesome.
My first day just training as a pro wrestler. I had no idea what I was getting into. Secret handshakes, ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's my little story, and my that man is Garth Redman. That's his work name.
Okay.
Real name or shoot name is Garfield Redding.
Okay.
So shouts out to Garth. He got my start in,
awesome.
So that's that was in 2015. I was 19 years old.
That's awesome. I've noticed that wrestling and football usually like goes hand in hand. There's so many football players that have become professional wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
What is the relation there? I've always wondered because I didn't have. I went to a very small school, so I didn't have amateur wrestling, and I didn't have football at my school at all. So I'm wondering, like, what's kind of the relation there? Is it just the physical aspect? What is it?
So I'd say, well, for starters, when it comes to professional wrestling and folk style, freestyle, Greco-Roman, they're all different. Like they're not the same. I'm surprised that they're even called the same thing.
Yeah,
that's how different they are.
Yeah.
However, football directly relates to both.
Yeah.
Like with amateur wrestling, the explosiveness. You know what I mean? Like like every move has to count. Every movement, there's no wasted motion, and everything has so much power to it, and it actually gives you like better technique as far as football. So like they kind of like help each other out, like I was always the one doing double leg takedowns and trying to like just explode people off their feet, and trying to pin them as fast as possible. That translates to being able to tackle better in football, to get lower than the next man, to beat the tackles and all that, whatever. Pro wrestling, you obviously need agility.
Yeah.
You need the footwork. It's like a dance, So in football, you have to have pretty solid footwork in order to, do your assignments and just be a good football player.
That makes sense.
That translates. So like when you see a lot of guys shift from football to pro wrestling, that's because they already have timing.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that timing, and you transfer it to pro wrestling, there's an adjustment and a learning curve, but they already have like a level of footwork that you wouldn't. Like if someone didn't play football and tried to just go right into wrestling, it might be a little bit harder.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense completely.
Ironically, because I wrestled in high school and a little bit during my college years, transferring from there to pro wrestling was actually bad for me.
Oh, really?
Because I was so like disciplined in this one thing
that
when I tried to do pro wrestling, I was too I don't know. I was almost trying to hurt people,
That makes sense.
I never hurt anyone, but like I was so competitive, and it's like I don't know how to explain it. It was a little bit less grace, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had to like take a step back and almost forget what I knew about amateur wrestling.
Fascinating.
to be able to be a decent wrestler. In fact, it was almost like the more I forgot about amateur wrestling, the better I got at pro wrestling.
Huh.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, if I attempted to wrestle in a tournament today, I will probably get last place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
it's like
you.
that. It's like that.
Yeah.
So
That's super fascinating because I didn't have amateur wrestling in my high school, but when I first started doing pro wrestling training, Van Mardigan, I've mentioned him on the podcast before. He helped train Omega, but he taught me all my technical wrestling. But he also taught me some amateur stuff that would help me with my technical wrestling. So I wasn't sure how attached it was or how detached it was for sure.
Like I said, there's a lot of pros and cons with it.
Yeah,
I'm sure he taught you like the movements.
Yeah.
I know the movements help me to this day. Like when I do like knee slides and fake shots and all that, it sets me a little like apart from everyone else.
Yeah.
So it definitely helped me out. However, when trying to do to get real specific with it. Okay. So we have different moves, right? So
correct. Yeah.
But the same names, which is what was super confusing. That's what it was for me. So like an arm drag, for example, in pro wrestling, we're used to hooking deep and then literally using the momentum and then tossing them. That is more like a hip toss in amateur wrestling.
Okay.
Whereas a hip toss in pro wrestling, when you're using the right arm, you gotta do that's not a hip toss in like folk style.
Okay.
It's like a totally different movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then an arm drag for amateur wrestling is literally if I were to grab your near side arm, go across, and just drag you as a setup for another move or to trip you or whatnot.
That's fascinating.
Which is real close to a drop toe hold, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like that's what it was, like trying to click it. So if I'm training or if I'm wrestling and like a coach goes, "Hey, do an arm drag," instead of like actually hooking for an arm drag, I might stutter, which will in turn mess my footwork up a little bit because it's that one little second and it all matters.
That makes complete sense.
I think that's what my struggle was. However, there's nothing wrong with learning some movements,
of course,
because you can implement that into your own like personal style.
Right. Yeah.
So that's where that helps.
Yeah, which people like Kurt Angle and stuff did perfectly. Like Kurt Angle, Chad Gable.
Gods, man.
So good.
So good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, and speaking of like Kurt Angle and Gable, you also had some experiences with WWE this past year, and then you also got to do some work with AEW. What was that like, and what was kind of like the differences? I don't know how much you can talk about, but
I'll talk about it.
Why not?
I really haven't been saying. I haven't talked about it, so why not? So first of all, it's a blessing to be able to do those things,
course,
right?
Yeah.
Like, let's get real here. I mean, we all got into this business to eventually work in one of those companies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the dream.
Literally, like I said, The Rock and Stone Cold, like, I obviously want to be in the WWE.
Yeah.
That's like a dream come true. So when I got the call to come in and do some work for them, I went into it with no expectations. I'm like, there's no way. This might be a fake email. This might be a fake, prank call or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll do this. So I'll go. And then I clear security. I'm in there and I'm like, holy crap, this is real. So for me, it was kind of like the inner fan of me kind of was resurrected, So it was like, oh my goodness, I'm just walking down the hallway and oh my goodness, I've seen you growing up. I've seen you on TV, I'm not name dropping or anything, but
right.
It's like a real surreal moment. And then next thing you know, an agent's coming up to you saying like, hey, like you're going to do this tonight. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. Why not? So it's like,
of course,
when it comes to between WWE and AEW, I'd say about the same because, you're just there to do what you're told.
Yeah.
You're essentially a guest.
Yeah.
And you're there to do a job. You're just there and you're just blessed to be there. You get to meet your heroes and whatnot. And,
absolutely.
You got stories that you can hold to your heart and, you can tell people or you can just keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
So many stories out there. But I mean, I'm just blessed to be a part of it all,
Yeah.
Whether it's this company or that company, just the fact that I was back there and, do I get to wrestle? Sometimes, yeah. Do I, sometimes not. Maybe I'm doing something else. Just stay open-minded and you might do something that is cool.
Yeah.
So, like I said, overall blessings.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm very happy you got that opportunity because
Thanks,
you're such a good guy. You're such a talented guy. You always say in our matches that I carried you, which isn't true.
Oh, come on.
That's not true at all.
You're so much better than you think.
No.
You're an amazing talent, man. Like I love wrestling you.
Oh, thanks so much, man. I appreciate that greatly, but you deserved that opportunity. You earned that opportunity. You worked hard for it. You've been working on the body. You've been working on getting that. That helps a lot as well.
It does a little bit.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I want to get to that point eventually as well. I mean, that's the dream, and you are living the dream. You got to wrestle Veer Mahan on main event. Mm-hmm. You actually got stuff in too, which is sweet.
Which is like,
yeah.
We're like, oh man, we don't want this to be a short match. So like, have fun. Don't gotta tell me twice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like he's working. I was like,
that brother's actually wrestling.
Yeah, I was like, my dude, because like there's so many people who like will go on dark or whatever, and not get much in.
Usually it's 30 seconds to 2 minutes if we're lucky.
Yeah,
but I was blessed, man. I got a full 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah,
no complaints, man.
That was super awesome. I was super happy to see that. So I had Mike. Party Mike and Justin Xavier on the podcast recently.
My boys.
And Justin mentioned a story where in Las Vegas you almost got mugged.
Oh my god. He told that story?
He did.
On air?
Yeah. Oh. Most of it. But he told me to ask you about it.
Ask me about it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get a little sip before I Let me get a little sip before I tell this little.
Yeah, he told some of it, but he was like, "Man, you got to ask Savion about it when you got him on." So,
yeah, whatever happened to what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Come on, Justin. All right. Let's dig into it a little bit. Okay, there's more stories in that trip anyway, but like,
you can tell him.
This ain't bad. So
you can tell him.
So what happens is, as some of you may know, Las Vegas isn't necessarily the safest. It's sketchy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Jeez. This is our second night there, right?
Yeah.
So, we done already checked in our hotel and all that. We're just relaxing. We had already wrestled out there for the first night. There's 2 nights for the shows or whatever.
Okay.
And so we we're just out there and we're like, hey, let's explore the strip, like we don't know what we're gonna do. So far we've been to a couple of shopping centers and whatnot,
right?
Gone to a couple casinos, and I'm not gonna get the world, but but so the way Vegas is kind of like built, it's like in order to go across the street you have to go up like escalators, then a bridge, and then go down escalators just to so it's a pain a little bit. So I guess there was a group of guys trying to run games. So we like I said, I mean, we're tired. We just got done wrestling, but tired wrestlers are not like tired people.
Yeah,
like we just don't want to deal with any BS. That's all that means. Like, don't try us when we're tired.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
we will hit a couple insies and back elbows and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
So we done already made it across, and then we're going down. So Justin's kind of like hanging back a little bit. He's enjoying. He's sightseeing, but I'm like on a mission for some reason. I don't know why. I'm on a mission, but like I am. So we go down this little escalator. I turn the corner, and this guy comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey man, what's up with that?" I'm like, "What's going on?" He goes, "You took a picture of me. Why you take a picture of me, man?" I'm like, "What are you talking about, man?" He's all in my face. I'm just like, "What are you talking about?
Yeah,
you for real trying to test me right now?" And he's just like, "Let me see your phone." I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, don't go for the okie doke Savion, because you're gonna pull that phone out, he's gonna jack you, bro. It's one-on-one, Right. So I was like, bro, you better get away from me. He was adamant that I took a picture of him, blah blah blah. Luckily, JX had my back. Justin came through, cut that corner and his partner was like, "Hey, he good." Just that quick. No, he good. Justin looked like he was gonna stab him, bro, because Justin's he's like 6 foot.
Oh, he's huge.
He's just for no reason, just super.
For no reason.
Yeah, he done bulked up a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, he gained like 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, that's what he.
Like,
yeah, that's what he said.
So like he's doing his thing. So like he's like my bodyguard for real. I'm just like, bro, like why are you messing with me, man?
Yeah,
and Justin. So they scattered out. So we just like, man, we gotta go. Let's go get some Panda Express and go to a room.
Yes.
So that's that story. Yeah. So
Oh,
I don't know
man.
how much he told. I don't know if that matches up to what he said.
Yeah, it does.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So
Yeah, absolutely.
They try to test a couple wrestlers. I guess I look like a marked target. So
yeah,
just keep messing with me, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's that's such a great story. I've luckily not gotten mugged yet, so that's great.
Don't say yeah. Yeah, we're not getting mugged out here. Let's not do that.
Yeah, no, let's not get mugged. I don't know. I'm in Illinois this weekend, so
Illinois.
Near Chicago. Near Chicago.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm up near Chicago, so it might be a little rough.
Good luck, brother.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too bad. I think it'll be all right. Yeah, but yeah, so that's a great story. What are some of your goals for the coming year?
This year, I've got some goals. I've been kind of keeping secret though.
Okay.
I'm not really.
Okay.
I don't want to jinx anything, but
right.
let's just say America might be a little too small for the Savion section. You know
okay.
What I mean? Hint, hint.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I got to take care of some local business, and then the next couple steps will be going other places.
That's awesome.
You know, like not just, you know, I'm not talking about just like Canada or Mexico. I'm talking like overseas maybe. So
I get you. Yeah, that's one of my goals.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. But this year, I definitely want to do that because last year, like if I like went back the last few years, I'd say I took a massive jump from where I was. Like right before we met and had to wrestle each other.
Right.
I was finally getting out there. Like I finally went down to the West Coast, the West Coast, went south, and I never wrestled anything outside of like Michigan and Tennessee, so that was new territory for me.
Yeah.
And then obviously last year, that's when I started like doing TV stuff.
That's awesome.
Obviously the goal is to go back to TV, but let's set myself a little bit further apart from the group. So let me go to other countries.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's a big goal of mine. I mean, you mentioned Canada, that is a goal of mine, but like that's so close still. Yeah. Japan's definitely a huge goal of mine. Yeah. And I want to go to the UK. Yeah. That's like my really big one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nice one.
Yeah, because and so just got to get that passport worn out.
Yeah, no, I've had my passport for quite like 5 years now, so I'm like halfway through my passport. I'm like, I gotta hurry up and like hit this before I'm gonna waste it.
Yeah, I'll probably have a Canada opportunity this year. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, absolutely. You know, man. That. Yeah, you mentioned again like us, our feud, and before you met me, we hadn't met each other. Then we.
Nice to meet you. We get in the locker room. Nice to meet you. I'm going for your title. Bro.
Yeah. So then we meet each other, and I feel like we just kind of hit it off. Yeah. Our ring chemistry was unreal. Yeah. I think wrestling you kind of allowed me to step up my game. To be completely honest, like
I think I wouldn't take credit like that. I think when I wrestled you, I definitely felt that you had a ton of potential. And then when you told me how long you were in the business, I was like, yeah. So when I wrestled you, I definitely wanted to push you. You actually pushed me a little bit. I mean, not a little bit, but like you pushed me, man. So I was in front of a crowd that I was unfamiliar with. You held it down in your own right. So we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They gave us more time than we thought. So we just went in there and made some magic. And then we did round 2. Magic again, and then round 3 eventually magic again. So it's like
round 3 is my personal favorite. I wish I had footage from it because that one's my personal favorite. It was in VV. It was at the fair. That was the first time that Priscilla, my wife, for those listening, that was the first time she had ever watched me.
Oh, that was a good match. That's a good.
Yeah. That was the first time she had ever watched me. So after that, she was like, "Oh, I like this guy. I like it."
Yeah. Because we pulled out some good stuff in that match.
We did.
So it's like win, lose, draw didn't matter. It was just that performance was just. I feel like we were both on our A game that night.
Oh yeah.
In front of that crowd.
Nice. It was so good. I mean, it was kind of baby. It was good guy versus good guy.
Yeah, I got tipped off in the middle of it, so I had to be a little aggressive. So,
right.
Right. We talked about it. We're good now.
Right.
We're good.
We're good. But it worked out. I mean, we broke out everything. I don't think we talked too much either.
I mean, do we talk in these matches? I don't know. I mean, I try to talk a little bit. But,
that's right. But I mean, like, we went out there and our chemistry was just our chemistry was just off the charts that night.
Yeah.
It was the first 2 times,
Yeah.
but that time it was just like, all right, we have something.
Yeah,
here.
we talked. I mean, the first time we wrestled was like, nice to meet you. You know, we got to do this. All right, I'm coming for your title. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like, that was good. And then the second time was even better. And then we elevated that third time. It was
Absolutely. I'm waiting for 4, man.
Yeah.
Especially with like where we're at now as performers, because I think that you've gotten on this whole other level. Like you've really gotten up. I think you're awesome. I think you're
this man right here.
Genuinely, you're extremely by the book.
That's an honor. I'll take that. That book, man.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah.
No, you're extremely by the book. You're not in a bad way. I mean, sometimes people will be like, "Oh, by the book." That's so like, does that mean you're just old school and like old minded or whatever? No, you're just very by the book. You're extremely talented. You have so much potential in your own right. And then I feel like I've improved so much, vastly improved in this last year myself. So I'm ready for another one.
I'm ready for another one too. I just want to lose count of these matches, man. I don't even care about the part 4, part 5, part 20. I just want to lose it. You know what I mean? Just I walk in the locker room like, I want Gaston.
Yeah, that's right. I want Savion. Let's just go out there and kill it tonight, brother.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm all about, man.
Yeah.
Before we close out the podcast, I mean, is there anything else that you would like to say? Any fun stories? Justin and Party Mike had quite a couple.
Yeah, they had a couple. I wonder if I can top so. See, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and there's been some crazy stuff that didn't happen to me. I've been involved with. So
yeah.
If you like, how about this? Let's play a little game.
Okay.
Just throw me a topic, and I'll see if I can bounce a story off of it.
Oh, a topic.
Just anything.
Like
anything.
Okay. All right. Oh goodness. Travel.
Okay.
A travel story. Yeah.
I'm trying to see one that's appropriate for the TV. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is funny and appropriate. Okay. All right. So I think the first time I was able to actually break out of Ohio, like do my first long distance booking, it was actually a seminar.
Okay.
And you got to pay for a seminar. You're not getting paid, and I mean, it was just a huge shot, in the dark. So I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And then my friend, our friend Omega, you know, right?
Oh yeah.
He's just go Savion. You just gotta believe in yourself, man. Just hop in this car with me, and we're gonna go. I got Donnie, I got Piper, who I'm wrestling tomorrow. How funny. Once upon a time we were all like really good friends. So like, hello. We all hop in the car, and I'm like, I don't know, man, but let's do it. I have family down there. It was down in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
So I was like, I got family down there. Why not? Like, we go down there. We got a place to stay. Blah blah blah. So let's do it. So we get in the car, and we're traveling, and it's just so many like funny things happen. So like Donnie and Piper. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you ever traveled with them, but they are some characters. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Like how they are in the ring is how they are in real life.
Yeah.
They're not. There's no characters. It's real. It's as real as it gets. So it's like,
that's how they are.
The jokes, the comedic timing. Like it's like 1 second we're listening to like podcasts, wrestling podcasts, and next thing you know we're listening to music, and then next thing you know they're on a podcast live while we're driving down there. I'm like, what's going on? So like they put the aux cord in, they plug it into the car, and they're on the call or whatever, and like I'm just chilling, like just listening, like what they're talking about and stuff, and like they're brothers, man. However, brothers always fight, right?
Yeah.
But this one, it's like brothers bully each other. They spent 30 minutes bullying each other, Donnie and Piper, and then that's when
that sounds about right.
That's when sorry, there's an inside joke where everyone says that Donnie does not have an upper lip. Yeah, that's right. I said it, Donnie. I got to put you out there. And it's one of those things that we never really like notice or whatever. It's just that they were literally in the middle of like maybe the 6th question. They're just talking. And then Piper literally stops talking and looks at Donnie. He's like, Donnie, where your lip at? I'm like, bro, no way. So after the whole podcast happened, we still got like maybe 9 hours to our destination. The whole 9 hours, they're literally flaming Donnie for not having an upper lip because they just discovered it.
Oh no!
To this day, this is 2 years ago. To this day, it's still a joke. And it's like I've been defending him since day one, but like now I feel like I'm part of the problem since I just told the world, right? So that's one story.
Oh my
Just going all
gosh.
the way down there in Texas, that was just a wonderful experience. You know, we all eventually we did the seminar, you know, and then we all were picked to wrestle on the cards in some capacity.
That's awesome.
Me and Omega got asked back a few times. We make it to Texas. Just to reiterate, we do the seminar, and you know we get to wrestle. All four of us get to wrestle on the card at some capacity. So eventually, we both get called. Me and Omega got called back for a few more appearances. I ended up staying for like, I want to say a year or some change.
That's awesome.
I ended up winning a championship, going for multiple titles, even their heavyweight championship. I went for it.
That's sick.
When it gets Dante Smiley, you know, shouts out to Dante. You know, if you know, you know what I mean. Like that man is talented. Like I think that's one of the best parts about, you know, traveling across the country. I've come to realize how talented people are.
Yeah.
You know, like I know I'm decent, and you know, there's a lot of decent talent out here in Ohio.
Yeah.
But like going across, I'm like, wow, there's some guys out here that just haven't been discovered.
Yeah. There's some real gems that you come
Yeah.
across that's just like, why are you not doing more?
Right. And then like I'll wrestle these guys and I bring whatever I learned, because guess I learn from every single match I'm in.
Yeah.
And I bring it to Ohio, and it just my style is constantly evolving just because of that. So people are like, Savion, like, how did you get so good like so fast? Like you were just not this good last week. And I'm like, I don't know. And that just comes from, you know, wrestling, you know, people either better than you on your level or just have a different style.
Right.
Like I've wrestled guys that probably shouldn't even be in the ring, but I still learn from them. Because it's like, you know, I got to learn a new way to protect myself.
Yeah.
I got to learn a new way to protect someone else. You know, it's just a really cool sport that we're, you know, and that's what's different from all the other sports. You know? So. Yeah,
traveling and wrestling outside of just one place is what gets you the best.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for so long where I trained at Supreme Wrestling, I just wrestled there all the time. And you can only get so good wrestling the same people all the time.
Right.
Once you go out and you wrestle people with these different styles, with these different personalities even, you know, different experience levels, it just gets you on a whole other level.
Yeah.
I've wrestled guys like Adam Wick up in Michigan. Are you familiar with him?
I've heard of his name.
He's extremely talented, you know, but he doesn't get out on the Michigan scene much, but he's extremely talented. I learned from him. I've also had some real stinkers and wrestled some really bad people.
Yeah, we're not going to name them.
No, obviously not. No. But like, you know, but I've wrestled like some really bad people, and I had to learn like, okay, so how can I like get something decent out of this, you know? So learning and traveling is like so important. And I suggest that for any like young wrestler out there, any wrestler who just doesn't get out there much.
Yeah. Let's talk about advice to give to the
absolutely.
So I tell all my guys this. When I was coming up, I was always told hop in a car and go somewhere with. And I get it.
Yeah.
It works. I get it. But it only works for so long.
Yeah.
What you need to do, in my experience, what I learned is to be completely selfish and go by yourself.
Yeah.
Like maybe maybe go hop in your own car and go somewhere you've never been before. Go to New Jersey, go to New York, go to California, you know, buy a flight, go somewhere crazy, and then see if you can just figure it out, you know? Like there's no one's going to hand you these opportunities. Sometimes you'll go with someone and maybe that person doesn't have the pool that they claim they do. Yeah. And you're just at the very bottom. You got to start from the bottom, fight to the top, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's how you get better. But in my experience, when I hop in my car and go somewhere else, I'm usually starting in the middle, work my way up, you know?
Yeah.
And it doesn't take that long.
No.
So there you make more money that way.
Yeah.
You start to get this confidence. Confidence is key. Once you start to believe in yourself, you'll believe in what you're doing, and the crowd sees that. And then you will just become more popular. You become, you know, something will just click. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that comes from going to other places and experimenting. Because you might be doing something that might not work in this area, but if you take it somewhere else, it might either work in that area, or you might learn something from that area that will, you know, improve your gimmick, whatever you want to call it. And Absolutely. Then you come back home just a new person, man. Like that's my best advice, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, traveling and getting that experience is so important. It's it changed me a ton.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at people's looks
Yeah.
even, and I was like, okay, how can I make my look different? Because you know, when we wrestled,
Yeah.
I had short hair, I had to
Short hair.
fade, you know, but everyone else had that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so I'm gonna have long hair. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
start coming out with the Jericho hairdo.
Yeah.
You know, you know, evolving is so important in our business,
Absolutely.
and being selfish, like you said, is extremely important, because if you're worrying too much about other people, other people's feelings, you're gonna push yourself down. You're gonna push your potential back.
Yeah.
I've experienced that myself.
Yeah.
So it's just so important. And you told a great story about Piper and Donnie, so I have a really funny one.
Yeah, one. Come on, let me hear it. Let me hear it.
So it was the last Rockstar show that ran.
Okay, up in Dayton. Okay.
Yeah, so it was Halloween 2021.
Okay.
So I did like this like costumed like scramble match for them, and Donnie and Piper wrestled, I think, Bad Dudes that night. I think they wrestled Bad Dudes.
Okay.
And then it's the main event. It's so cold outside.
It's an outdoor show?
Yeah, it was an outdoor show in the middle of October.
Y'all do not love yourselves.
Yeah, no, not at all. So it's the main event. I think it's like John Wayne Murdoch and Ace Austin and like two other people. I forget who all was in it, but they're all going at it. I think Crash Jackson might have been in the match, but I walk out and I want to watch the match. Well, Donnie and Piper are just sitting by the dumpster. And Donnie just has alcohol in his hand.
What is he doing?
He's just chilling. He's just chilling and drinking. And I just sit down beside him and he's like, yo, you want some cuz? And I'm like, no, I'm good.
You want a brewski, brother?
Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. And then Piper's just chilling there, like with his shades on, just chilling.
It's probably dark outside too.
Oh, it was so dark outside. Classic. Yeah, but I just sat and chilled by a dumpster with Donnie and Piper watching the main event with light tubes and crap. And we're just popping over there like crazy. Donnie is drunk.
He does that.
Yeah.
He does that.
Like, man, so I just thought I would share that little tidbit with you.
That is funny. That's funny. Like that's like a story. That's a good story to tell, but that's like everyday life, honestly.
Yeah.
That's them. That's who they are.
That really is.
That's who they are. And
man,
love it.
I gotta get those two on here.
Yeah. That's gonna be a crazy episode. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
That'll be crazy. Yeah, I got quite a few people, quite a few guests that I'm planning to bring on at some point. Is there anything else you would like to share before we close out?
Man, I can go all day with these stories, man. But you know what? I think everyone got the point. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted everyone to with these podcasts, I want everyone to A, get to know my guest, and B, learn something. And I feel like your advice definitely helped teach them something. Mike was on here and talked about freaking taxes. So yeah, like it was great. It was a great episode. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Savion. I appreciate it. I love talking to you. I can talk to you for days.
My man.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys for joining, and remember to continue doing things 100% by the book.